Now children, after C3 cycle, first we'll go through the photorespiration. Now in previous topic we have studied a enzyme that is Rubisco, that is rubulose carboxylase oxygenase. Now there in C3 cycle it help in a fixation of carbon dioxide and ultimately the formation of glucose take place. Now the behavior of Rubisco changes in two conditions. First, when temperature is high, and the second condition where the behavior changes is when concentration of O2 is high. So the behavior of this Rubisco changes. As in this condition, as in C3 cycle we have seen that CO2 it will goes fixed with RuBP in a presence of Rubisco, where Rubisco is acting as rubulose carboxylase. Okay, and then with the help of this there is a formation of PGA and ultimately the formation of PGAL, and again the RuBP will synthesize. This was the common reaction that is occurring in C3 cycle. But what happen if these two condition arises? When these two condition arises, these Rubisco will act as rubulose oxygenase. Now it is acting as rubulose oxygenase. Now it does not fix with carbon dioxide and does not lead to the process of carboxylation. Now it will going to bind with oxygen that is present. So the process that occurring will change, and that's why the process is called photorespiration, because photo means in a presence of light, respiration that is the same process that is occurring in a process of respiration where we are taking oxygen and give out carbon dioxide. So same will happen when these two condition arises, then Rubisco act as oxygenase and ultimately it will bind with oxygen, and in the cycle it will give rise of carbon dioxide, that is will release carbon dioxide, and ultimately the cycle changes. So what happened, see here, that if Rubisco there is a common process is going on, then Rubisco bind with carbon dioxide. So here Rubisco is acting as rubulose carboxylase. Okay, and then PGA is formed, then PGA will form the PGL, and from PGL a glucose molecule will form, and the normal process of photosynthesis is going on. Okay, now the scenario changes. What scenario changes? Now the condition, the temperature become high and oxygen concentration become high. Now what happened? This rubulose carboxylase now act as rubulose oxygenase. Now it is acting as rubulose oxygenase. So when it will act as rubulose oxygenase, so it will not going to bind with carbon, now it will going to bind with oxygen. So rubulose enzyme will going to bind with oxygenase, and ultimately when it will bind with oxygenate, it will form phosphoglycerate. It will form phosphoglycerate, and phosphoglycerate is actually a 2-carbon compound. It is a 2-carbon compound. That's why this cycle is also known as C2 cycle, or as phosphoglycerate is formed, so it is also called as glycerate cycle. Okay, now phosphoglycerate will change into glycerate when it enter into the peroxisome, and from glycerate it will take oxygen and it will change into glycolate. Glycolate will again form glycine. glycine. And this glycine will enter into the mitochondria. It will release amine group and form serine, and one molecule of carbon dioxide is also get lost. It is 2 carbon compound, only one carbon compound serine is formed, and one molecule of carbon get lost. Now the serine will enter into the peroxisome, and this Na3 will also enter here, and this will help in a conversion of serine to glycine, and this amine group will remain here in a cycle. Now the serine will convert it into pyruvate, pyruvate will convert it into glycerate, and glycerate will enter into the cytoplasm, and where it forms the phosphoglyceraldehyde, phosphoglyceric acid. Now this process, this oxygen cycle, or the formation of entering of oxygen in the process of photosynthesis is a harmful process, because in that cycle there is no formation of ATP or NADPH is taking place. So no energy production and nothing is going on. Ultimately what happens, a carbon dioxide is releasing out, which is released from where? Actually it is releasing from the substrate which is fixed by carboxylase during the C3 cycle, means some substrate is breaking down, and that is going to release the carbon dioxide. That's why this cycle is considered as harmful, and that's why it is called photorespiration, as it is a harmful process for plant, because it is occurring in a time of light as a process of respiration occur, and there is no formation of glucose take place, but at least the carbon dioxide is released. Now in which plant these are occur? So these occur in a plant which grow in a temperate region, that is wheat, rice, bean. All these are a plant that will show the this photorespiration, and it is a harmful process for plant. Now to overcome this process, some plant have adapted themselves, and they does not perform C3 cycle alone. They perform C3 cycle along with another cycle, that is called C4 cycle. So next we are going to study the C4 cycle.